When it comes to mid-sized US cities that punch above their weight, Des Moines, Iowa is right near the top of the list for me. I have family in Des Moines, so it's a place I usually visit a couple times a year, and each time I'm reminded of how much the city has to offer. In this series, I briefly cover a city's history, population, skyline, as well as a few things that make the city unique. Now let's meet Des Moines. I always like to start by exploring how a city wound up being where it is today. Des Moines traces its beginnings to a U.S. Army fort built at the confluence of the Des Moines and Raccoon Rivers in 1843. Originally known as Fort Des Moines, the settlement quickly grew into a hub for commerce and industry. By the mid-19th century, coal mining and railroads fueled its expansion, while the fertile farmland surrounding the city supported a strong agricultural economy. In 1857, the city officially shortened its name to Des Moines and became Iowa's state capital, cementing its role as the political center of the state. Over the years, Des Moines evolved into a financial and insurance powerhouse, which has led to significant growth. With a city proper population of around 213,000, Des Moines is the largest city in Iowa and the 113th largest in the country. I think metro population is a better indicator of a city's size, and Des Moines has a metro population of roughly 750,000, which would make it the 82nd largest metro in the country, falling between Provo, Utah and Daytona Beach, Florida. Some of the most recognizable companies headquartered in the Des Moines metro include Hy-Vee, Casey's General Stores, EMC Insurance, and Principal Financial Group. Des Moines is home to several colleges and universities, the most notable being Drake University and Des Moines University. Call me shallow, but when it comes to cities, I think appearances matter, and Des Moines has one of the most overperforming skylines in the country in my opinion. It's not a top 25 skyline for me by any means, but given its relatively modest population, few city skylines overachieve like Des Moines does. If you took the average height of Des Moines' tallest 5 buildings, it would be ranked as the 44th tallest skyline in the country, falling short of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and being taller than Raleigh, North Carolina. The tallest building in the skyline is the 801 Grand, which is a good-looking skyscraper at 630 feet or 190 meters in height. Although not necessarily part of the downtown skyline, the best-looking building in the broader Des Moines cityscape is the Iowa State Capitol building. Its 5 domes make it my second favorite state capitol in the country behind Connecticut's from an appearance standpoint. I can remember driving past the Iowa State Capitol when my daughter was about 5, and she thought it was a princess palace with its golden central dome. The inside of the state capitol is also impressive, with beautiful chambers, large mosaics, as well as a whispering gallery below the dome. My favorite room in the Capitol building, though, is its library, which with its spiral staircases might be the most beautiful library I've ever seen in person. On the other side of Des Moines is another beautiful building worth mentioning, Terrace Hill, which serves as the official residence of the governor of Iowa. Terrace Hill is a stunning 1869 Victorian mansion built in the Second Empire style, complete with a central tower and ornate detailing. It's considered one of the finest examples of this type of architecture in the Midwest, and today it's the city's only building to be designated as a National Historic Landmark. One of the most iconic spots in downtown Des Moines is the Papa John Sculpture Park, located within the Western Gateway Park. The 4-acre sculpture garden has more than 30 works of art. The most eye-catching of these sculptures is the large nomad sculpture, which may have stuck out to me because it was the image on the cover of my college psychology textbook. There are a few unique landmarks along the Des Moines River, starting with the World Food Prize Hall of Laureates. The beautiful building was originally the city's public library, and is now home to the World Food Prize, which is sometimes referred to as the Nobel Prize for Food and Agriculture. Just up the river is one of the city's most eye-catching landmarks, the Iowa Woman Achievement Bridge. This beautiful bridge serves as a nexus for the broader Principal Riverwalk, which connects various landmarks along the river. On the east side of the bridge is the Robert D. Ray Asian Garden, which has a striking pagoda along the river. And while on the topic of gardens, I should mention that Des Moines is home to the Better Homes and Gardens Test Garden. The garden is essentially a living laboratory where the magazine experiments with flowers, landscaping designs, and seasonal plantings. You can walk through the same beds that later appear in one of the most widely read lifestyle magazines in the country. Another Des Moines attraction that has been featured in national media is the West End Architectural Salvage. This eclectic warehouse filled with reclaimed wood, stained glass, and architectural relics was featured in the HGTV show West End Salvage. Another cultural gem of the city is the Des Moines Art Center, which holds a surprisingly impressive collection of modern and contemporary works for a city of its size. The architecture of the museum alone is amazing. And lastly, I should mention that Des Moines is home to one of the most famous state fairs in the country, the Iowa State Fair. The Iowa State Fair attracts over 1 million visitors a year and competes with the Minnesota and Texas State Fairs for the title of Best State Fair in the country. It's famous for its agricultural exhibitions, deep-fried food, and the pig and husband calling contests. And given Iowa's importance as the starting line for the U.S. presidential primary process, the state fair usually attracts many of the presidential candidates and gives the city a global spotlight. Well, that does it for my overview of Des Moines, Iowa. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.